Yes, yesterday we talked about all the imperfections and the day before that. Yeah. So all these imperfections are the corruption of vipassana. As I said again, they are not necessarily unwholesome. They can be wholesome mental states. And they are required actually for the element, the components. Except that sometimes yogi misunderstood the practice or being encouraged to get attached to all these things. Calmness, lights, joy, rapture, zest, or bliss. What else? Resolution. Even the very thing that we are building up. For example, the mindfulness, continuous mindfulness, the thoroughness of the noting mind, and all those things that we are supposed to build them up and maintain them, sustain them so that the mind can progress. But the very thing that we develop can become a source of craving, can become proud, we can become egoistic, conceit may arise. We are better than other yogis because of we have the continuous mindfulness. So this one you have to be careful. We have to be careful when we keep going from one retreat after another retreat, year after year, while we are in the Buddhist, we are in the spiritual development. Then we keep on going. Don't look down on others. Don't try to compare our result with others. The result is finally yours, only yours. Nothing to compare. This is not a classroom. This is not a classroom. This is not a race to Nibbana. But in a way, it is your own race because we don't have much time. Not just in this retreat, but age-wise. As we grow older, it's not easy. So, I was thinking about tonight. Now, if you can able to avoid those trappings, those corruptions, and so then you know how to keep your mind noting the objects. Mental or physical objects, note them carefully, thoroughly. Then progress will take place. But tonight we're going to look at how does this progress looks like. Now, usually we call it the progress of insight or the progress of vipassana. We give you tonight I will look into a brief understanding how this principle, the principle of how this vipassana is progressing. So that at least we know that when progress until, let's say, enlightenment, until nibbana, at least we know the path, how the whole process is building up. Because nibbana itself, the nirvana, nibbana, anybody now in this world can call it nirvana too. And everybody got their own interpretation. For example, if you go to the Hindu school, Hindu religion, they have their own nirvana. Even in Buddhism also, they have different kinds of nibbana also, or nirvana also, different understanding. But not development, the realization of nibbana, in principle, it follows the path of anicca, dukkha, anatta. Basically, in principle. Sounds easy, but actually It's the most practice in all Buddhism. Vipassana is the most difficult because finally, when you come in here, when you're able to develop, it's about seeing the perception of anicca, dukkha, anatta. The reason we need to see to this perception into anicca, dukkha, anatta is because inherently, latently, we always hold on to nicca, permanent. We hold on to sukha, and we hold on to atta, self. Inherently. And that inherent, the problem is that inherently from the whole samsara. We carry the whole samsara. It's just like normal. When you don't have it, it feels abnormal. But the truth is there, but you feel abnormal. That's the thing. Because we are so much drowned, we are so much into the ignorance, we don't realize that we are inside the ignorance. Only when the vipassana, only in the vipassana when you practice, it opens up a window to see actually what is going on. Then when you don't practice, this window closes again. Yeah. Then you practice, this window open again for you to see the truth. All we need is to see the truth. We cannot live inside the truth. We live in concept. Yeah. Every day you have to live in concept. Like what right now what we are doing, concept. But the truth is when you're actually sitting down, walking, then that period of time you open up, then you see. Then you are not meditating, close again. So 1 year you don't meditate, close for 1 year. Then next retreat you come and you open up again. It's only when you have that effort, mindfulness, and concentration, and so on, then the whole noting mind begin to see not the truth, not the type of you're thinking of. Then you sit outside there, you look at the sky. Oh, it's changing. Was a very clear. Yesterday was bright. Oh, today was rainy. Anicca. No, that is not really. That is your interpretation of anicca. That anicca will not bring you any closer to nibbana. But at least it makes you a bit happier in everyday life, so you don't attach. Near nibbana. You look at you go to, let's say you go to the hospital. You look at suffering. People are suffering. People go through suffering. Or you look at yourself. Oh, I'm going through old age. What is that? Oh, dukkha. You see all this dukkha and so on. But this dukkha, again here, you will not bring nibbana. They make you more non-attached. Yes, non-attached. But it's all still conceptual dukkha. Even though you see it. So the thing is that the type of development that we're going to go through it, the dukkha is not by thinking, it's not by you conceptualizing, it's truly actually seeing it, what is going on. Your pain here and there every day come in, as I said, you're reporting pain here and there. Almost every yogi, which is good. But that is not the true dukkha yet. Yes, it's dukkha, you feel it, that's one part of it. But there's deeper dukkha that we're going to see, that so that truly understand that not by truly paying attention, noting the object, the realization, what is going on, then the perception of dukkha arises, then it changes the perception of sukha. You don't even know that it changed. All you need to do is see the truth. Then the ignorance will slowly remove, purified. Now, the things that I've recommend to all of you, that how to note the drowsiness, how to note the restless mind, how to note the pain, how to note the rising, falling, walking, lifting, pushing, dropping. Then you do it. Repeat it again and again and again and again and again. Now it comes to a time that your mind is much more clearer. That day after day, your mind is much more clearer. Then perhaps sometimes you see that, like for example, you notice like rising, falling, or sometimes some of us may rising, maybe staggered rising, falling, maybe staggered falling. Sometimes the rising may go sideways a little bit, this way, that way. Then not only that, many begin to notice this thing. The yogi also noticed that sometimes like the mind that is observing the whole rising process or the whole falling process or the process of the whole rising and falling, as if like you're out of it and the mind knows it, that something that the stomach is moving there. Or you notice the pain, the various type of pain, and yet begin also that you notice the mind that is noting the pain. You also notice the nature of the pain. So this time you're also aware of the chitta, the mind, the mind that knows what is going on. Now some of us, sometimes the chitta, some of you say, oh, I know the heartbeat, beep pop, beep pop, beep pop, beep pop, beep pop. But actually this one is only the beginning of, you're going to see the different aspect of chitta, of the mind. Don't think that it's just a heartbeat. At one time, I have a doctor yogi, because he knows what is a heartbeat now. He tried to hear it carefully, beep pop. It's like trying to use a stethoscope, man. I say you don't have to do that. He's trying to see whether is it actually heartbeat that he could hear, because it's interesting to him. It is profession. Every day he has to listen to all this thing. So now he's meditating. He's trying to hear this thing. I say, don't go and think of whether it's heartbeat or not. Think beep up there. And sometimes, the more that you pay attention to all these things, the heartbeat starts to overlap together with whatever that you are noting, rising, falling, or even the pain, or even sensation also. Then you begin to also to notice that even the mind that knows, it starts to pulsate. It starts to pulsate. So it is one. You begin to also the mind that knows the noting mind. The mind that the noting mind that knows the mind, or whichever, it just knows itself. So it knows itself. This is good. It knows itself. Then it knows the body too. So this is not just one time, and that's it. It's just touch and go thing. It repeats itself again and again and again and again. Sometimes yogi thought that, sometimes you may hear in retreats, they call it, this one is the knowledge of mind and matter, because it's what is showing to you. But this type of knowledge, this type of experience, or this type of realization, what is going on, is not a one-off thing. It many times. It repeats itself many times. So when you're ready, either those things will come to you. You don't have to sit thinking of, not, I want to see mind and body. I want to see mind and body. I want to see, you make an aspiration, I want to see mind and body, then you start meditating. No, you don't do like that. It will come to you if you make the effort. If you keep noting, walking, sitting, it will come. In the walking itself too, you will notice the lifting, pushing, dropping, and yet you can notice the mind that knows the lifting, pushing, dropping, and they are very clear, as if like the mind is one thing, the movement is another thing. So two different aspects. So you begin to see mind and matter. Here, when you see this thing repeatedly again and again, it's mind and matter. There's no soul. There's no third entity. Even your mind is alert and clear and sharp and penetrative. Whatever that you thought about, like for example, God Almighty, or some soul that we have, and so on, this time you don't see it. You don't see it. So it's a kind of what we call purification. We don't realize that the mind is being purified of those things. Because of this thing, the way that you pay attention to both of it, then the perception of anatta is there. One aspect of anatta. When we say anicca, dukkha, anatta, don't think of it as one of thing. Anicca have many facets. Like a diamond, it got many facets. Dukkha also got its many, and anatta also is the same, many facets. So one of the facets that we directly look at anatta is when you're noticing mind and body coming in together. So this is one of how beginner's level, as we keep on trying, then we begin to notice this thing happening. But it may not take you just one retreat. Perhaps maybe 1-2 retreats, who knows, if you try hard. If you're not trying hard, then of course you cannot come to that aspect. Again here, let me emphasize again, this is not conceptual mind and matter, not what you think. This is directly you see it, you realize it. Even that time you don't label it, let's say, you don't label your rising and falling, you still see the whole process of the movement, you see the process of the mind that is noting the object, the primary object or the secondary object. So it's clear to the yogi. So this is one of the thing, one of the beginners, at least when you notice it, welcome to Vipassana. At least you are doing something right. At least you are doing something right. But even then also, sometimes yogi don't know, they do not know what they are looking at. It's just process. Now even I do not explain to you, or even you don't read about it, when it happens to you, principally in not necessarily exactly what I say, but in principle, in that way, then make sure that you see yourself carefully. You don't have to think about, am I looking at anatta? Am I looking at anicca? You don't have to think about all these things. The purification will be done at that moment of time. And again, it will be done because of that noting. So you don't have to think about anatta also. It come in on its own. Sometimes yogis, because of a lot of their Dhamma knowledge, they want to pull the whole conceptual Dhamma knowledge into the practice. It feels good, kind of like everything they conceptually understand it. Then only I want to practice. If I don't understand what I'm going through, I feel, there's something empty. All these things are craving. That thing that you want to know, you think is craving. And that, exactly that thing, even that you want to combine with the Dhamma, conceptual Dhamma, it is holds back the noting. It holds back the progress for a short time, for a short period of time. If you do not let go of the conceptual Dhamma or the intellectual Dhamma, it's very difficult for the Vipassana to progress. So this is just only one small aspect of the development, but it's a good development. At least it begins to come in. So everything that comes finally is all just mind and body process only. Everything that you're going to go through in your development of this vipassana. Now, if you keep on meditating, you keep meditating, day in, day out, retreat after retreat, let's say, then it comes to a time, again, the development comes to a time that you begin to see the aspect of conditionality. Conditionality here, what it means is this one. Last week we talked about intention. We talked about intention. In the beginning part, when we do notice the intention, we are just labeling intention, then we start walking, right? But that time, you don't really yet. You don't feel the mind. You only label on it. But it's still good. It's still good. Not to say that it is not good. It's still good. But when you develop further and further, then there'll be certain times you begin to notice that there is a consciousness that arises, or there's a mind that arises, or there's a wish that arises, that you can actually feel it. Not just labeling, but you can actually feel it, that it comes, it disappears, moving. Then when you're not sure whether it's there or not, perhaps, then you try again. You don't label, you don't note it, it won't move. You stand there. Then you label again, and then only start moving. Then you feel something strange with my walking right now. But it's not strange. It's just the experience of insight. It's experience of vipassana. Or sometimes yogis, they notice more tinier consciousness, for example. They notice, like, for example, they're going to lift up the leg. That lifting, it cannot come up until they note the intention. Then only it comes up. Then it stops there. How could it stop there? Then you note the intention. Then only start moving. Then you feel very strange. How come my walking is like a robot like that? It's not smooth anymore. Again here, it's not what you think. The Vipassana is trying to show you something, but not a experience that normally what we feel in our everyday life. It felt that as if like we are controlling the whole thing. But it's actually not. It's just experience of insight. So next time, all these things that's happening to your your development, it feels like something is wrong. So this time, you ask yourself, am I mindful or not? Or am I creating it out? So you just test it again. Test it again. Am I mindful? Then you realize that actually you're mindful. Your mind is not running anywhere. Your mind is not conceptualizing it. It happened on its own. It happens there. So when it happens, pay attention to it, to them. So a lot of times you have to learn to trust your mindfulness rather than trust your own judgment and thinking. Yeah. You got to have faith in your mindfulness, in your observation. God, it feels strange when you go into deeper part of it, even. But it's all within this mind and body process. It's all within this mind and body process. So the yogi able to notice it in this way. Yeah. Or sometimes even like, for example, this time you want to stretch out your hands. You even that stretching out the hands, the mind come first. That it knows that the hand is stretching out. Or sometimes even the stretching itself of the hand forward, that has become a staggered stretching. And each staggeredness or each staggered movement, and like for example, there are 5 or 6 movement in front, 5 or 6 movement before you straighten up the hand. Each movement, each minor movement comes with an intention or comes with the mind. Then the next movement, it comes again with the intention. Then it moves a little bit. Then it stops. Then intention and stop. Then only you straight your head. So it's interesting. Yeah. Patience, you need patience, of course, just to observe what is going on. So many things can happen if you're mindful. Even this rising and falling, or even in your in breath, out breath. Don't think that there's just movement up and down, forward, backward. When the mind becomes alert, becomes clear, every rising comes with the mind first. Or even every with your breath, mind come first. But we don't realize it in our everyday life. How could the mind is there if you just breathe? Because the mind in our everyday life, they are very subtle object. Until the vipassana comes in and magnified it, make it clear that actually we can notice that the mind comes first before place, or before the rising and falling take place. So when you notice in this way, you notice conditionality, how one object is influence another object, how one object is conditioning another object. So here is the mind, for example, the intention, for example, conditioning the movement. No? Not only just this way of conditioning, but there are also other ways of conditioning. That day, for example, I talk about the sleepiness or the drowsiness or even the restlessness. When I said, when you hear something, the hearing, pop, thoughts come up. Hearing, pop, thoughts come up. And then the thoughts come up, it gives rise to like happy feeling, let's say, for example. Then you hearing, the thoughts is there, feeling is there. Hearing, thoughts is there, feeling is there. Condition. Conditionality. So the observation may comes in slightly different manner. But all this manner that you're observing, it only again mind and body or matter that are interacting with each other. They are only interacting with each other. And there's no third party to command it. There's no third entity that's commanded. There's no God to command it. There's no soul to command it. There's nothing to command it. So with that, again is another overcoming or another type of purification, because this one, it you actually sees that there is no God or soul that is involved in things. It's only mind and body, matter that are interacting with each other. For some people, when they reach to this partner, some of us perhaps you hold on to the concept of God very strongly, perhaps, Then when it comes to this area, sometimes this a realization, you may get shocked a little bit because there's no God there. What past and what you are seeing in the present with the clarity of the mind is totally different. So the mind itself right now, it purifies the wrong view for that period of time. It also purifies in the sense that it no it what it actually right now also it sees another aspect of the earlier one. You only see this mind and matter, there's no I. Second one, you see interaction of these two, so it's another facet altogether. So it's another form of non-self, you see. So the beginning of vipassana is a beginning of perception of non-self, the non-I. So it's interesting. It's interesting actually. But the process of going through it, it's painful. Everything is all magnified. Your pain are also magnified. Rising, falling, everything is magnified. Your emotions are going to be magnified. Some of us may have, like, for example, sadness, or some people, our past, our loved ones died, and then when you sit down, all these emotion states will pop up very clearly for us to see. Yeah? And yet, when we pay attention to all these things, we notice that the mind also does not attach to them that strongly. It's still there, it's still painful, it's still difficult to bear, but the mind can able to note them, and they actually, you notice that they are disappearing. And you know that when you note them, when you keep on noting, they're actually, because of the mind noting it, they slowly diminish, they slowly disappear. Again, conditionality. Nothing arises, this thing disappear. This thing slowly disappear. You also begin to happen. So it, although the result, the realization is a clear and interesting, but you're going through a lot of pain, also a lot of like emotion states, difficult states, and so on. Everything is magnified. So in the first area of development, there are a lot of challenges. A lot. You thought that you are seeing a lot of dukkha, but actually it's the anatta is going to prevail at. But you don't feel that the anatta is so great. It's because it's all been covered up by all this pain and difficulty. So you got to hang in there, keep going. Don't start thinking more days. Should I change my method of meditation or not? Other people, other meditation, you don't need to note all this pain. Here, pain there. Oh. Yeah. Yeah. Samatha, all sit down, very peaceful, very nice, like very high. No, you don't see the truth. The truth is ugly. So you're seeing some dukkha, not to say it is not, but the one that is going to bring you over, develop you is the anatta. So it's the anatta is the one. But it will come on its own. All you need to do is just make sure you keep noting. Yeah? You just keep noting. Yeah. Then it comes to a time that, again, then you keep practicing. Yeah? Objects are so much more clearer. Yeah? The moment that you sit down, it's already there. Yeah? The rising and falling, when it's moved, it moves in a very, sometimes for some yogis, can be erratic manner. Some of us, like in the beginning of the practice, rising and falling is just rise, fall. Yeah, a little bit of changes in the this one. But then, and it's go into deeper, much more deeper, then the movement of the rising and falling can be very erratic, very random. Every movement that you notice is different from the earlier one. And the next one is completely different from that one. So it's very different. So sometimes when you meditate, you don't even know what to report. But you're noticing all those things, but you do not know what to report. There are so many things to report, which is good. Which is good. There's so many things to report inside that. One sitting, sometimes you think, okay, this sitting is very clear. I want to report this sitting then tomorrow. But then the next sitting is even clearer. You forgot about that sitting already. Yeah. They changes sometimes. The changes become much more clearer. Even a lot of times, for example, when you sit down, the pain does. When you sit down, the pain as if like can never finish. You only finish when the bell rings, right? Bell rings is if I safe by the bell, or you think about the bell. But sometimes when you go deeper, it's different. The pain comes in, strongly comes in, right to its peak, but it drops. It completely drops, it disappears for you to see. Then the next one come in. The next one come in. Then it also shows you a disappearance. Uh, uh, Even sometimes that even the rising and falling, it shows you how it exactly it begins and how it moves and exactly how it ends. Uh, then then it changes again. Every changes, every movement, you see beginning, middle, end. Uh, in the beginning of your practice, in the beginning of your practice in Vipassana, usually I don't give the instruction of beginning, middle, end. Because beginning, middle, end, you will not see it very clearly for beginners. You will see it only the middle only, most of the time. Pain is there. You don't see how it ends. Once in a while, you see how it. But when it comes, you don't exactly know how it comes. It's more like in the middle there that you notice something. But this time, as you go into deeper, sometimes it shows you the beginning, middle, and end very clearly. It shows you in different ways. Every object, whether it's a mental object or the physical object, in breath, out breath, rising, falling, sensation, and everything, all goes into a process of change. That it means they come, they go. The mind, it comes, it go, come, go, come, and go. Everything just arise. You see it there, disappear. You see it there, it disappear. This is not anicca yet. This is still not anicca yet. It's the is the precursor for later anicca to come. This time, what I'm actually noting is another characteristic belongs to all mental and physical object. All mental and physical object, they have their own intrinsic characteristic. That is to say, hardness, softness, warmness, coldness, movement, they're all different. Mindfulness, greed, joy, bliss, upekkha, they are all different because they all have their individual characteristic. But the next one, the next characteristic that we are going to see is this arising, sustaining, disappearing, beginning, middle, ending. And all objects have this beginning, middle, ending. Middle, and end. You pay attention to the anger, it has a beginning, middle, end. You pay attention to the greed, you see the a beginning, middle, end. You notice the rising and falling, it also has beginning, middle, end. Each and every object that you notice are always in the beginning, middle, end. But in the development, not every time you will see the beginning, middle, end. Sometimes only you will see, perhaps like what I'm talking right now, this time perhaps you will see. Now, when it's beginning, middle, end, that is how precursor of anicca, dukkha, anatta is going to come in. You see, within the beginning, middle, and ending, it depending on how the yogi observe it. The yogi observe the object as arising, it comes in and it going. Then the yogi feel that it's like everything is not permanent. Everything is just keep changing. It keep changing. Then yes, you begin to see some precursor of anicca. But the same another time, still seeing its change in that way. But this time you see that with difficulty, that the movement itself, everything is like difficulty. It's difficult to bear at this time. What is that? Dukkha is coming in. The precursor of dukkha is coming in. And it's not painful. It's nothing to do with pain here, pain there, but it's a matter of something that's keep on changing inside there. Then you begin to notice it as so it's coming slowly. Or at times, another time, you see this thing, that all these things are changing. And then the whole mind is like get pulled out of it and just see the arise, the beginning, middle, end, things that keep on changing on their own. Anatta. Same, the object, and looking at the object, three different perception may come in. But we don't realize it as long as the problem is that we just keep noting. The mind will know how to fix itself. You don't have to see, am I looking at anicca? Am I looking at anatta? Am I looking at dukkha? You don't have to do that. All you need to do is just pay attention to your object. But it's good to know, at least principally. Now, when these things happen, when you see a lot of changes, that means it shows that your mind is very sharp, very clear. This is where the corruptions of insight is big. The 10 things that we mentioned. At this area, it reached its peak. They still have. Even some yogis, right in the beginning of meditation, they're already attached to a calmness. But that's not the peak yet. The peak is when you build up all your mindfulness, build up all your momentum, everything. Then the whole corruptions of insight is just around the corner. So let's say at that time, the whole mindfulness let's say, or the whole calmness becomes super peaceful, super clear. But then you know what to do. Not, come back again, not the body again. Then you're not fall into the corruptions of insight. Huh? So when you know how to note it, and when you come back to your object, that time shows you another characteristic. And this time, the characteristic of what we call arising and passing away. That means every moment that the moment that you notice something, it already arises and pass away. Arise, pass away, arise. As if like, you turn on a light and the light is blinking. So everything goes into a passing away. That time, you do not know what you are noting already. You're noting whether it's rising and falling or pain or the sensation, let's say. That time, there's no difference in their characteristic. It's just everything is just arising and passing away. Everything just arises and passing away. You just sit down, everything arises and passes away. The moment it arises, passes away again and again and again and again and again. With that, actually, it's quite interesting. This is the beginning of true anicca. The real anicca is begin to deepen itself, and you can see the whole arising and passing away. And that you see it again and again, the perception, the wrong perception of permanence slowly begins to to weaken. The idea of begins to weaken because of the observation of arising and passing away. So that time is very interesting. Yeah, your mind is very balanced, very clear. Objects become very clear. You sit down, everything goes into arising and passing away. Even you pay attention here. Everything that you pay attention here. Normally, you can able to notice how the movement rise and fall, in breath, out breath here, sensation. Everything is just arising and passing away. Yeah. You see, when it goes into a deeper aspect of practice, things become stranger. Becomes like what we are nothing. But this is the nature. Just give you at least an idea. Anicca, dukkha, anatta is not that simple. It's not that straightforward. So the anicca becomes strong at this moment. Then you practice further. No. Here, sorry. Here is called another type of purification. And this is interesting. The Buddha called it purification of what is path and what is not. The Buddha used the word what is path and what is not path. Because here, if you get attached to the corruptions of insight, then this is not path. When you go back to noticing the object again, then it's path. Then it's how it branched off. You know which way to take up. The Buddha put it in the sutta. They put it in the sutta what is path and what is not path. But it needs a lot of practice in the vipassana just to understand what the sutta is talking. It's quite deep actually. So here it splits out. It splits out to know exactly which one the path for you to take and which one the path for you not to take. So attachment, the craving, the expectation, that is not the path. Just purely observation. Just know. Then the progress will start going further. So you will see anicca. The anicca comes in strongly this time. This is a very deep aspect of anicca, not the thinking anicca. So you see a lot of arising and passing away. Then it comes to a time also you see a lot of cessation, no, dissolution. Things are like keep on breaking apart. Something, everything goes into arising and passing away, and then it breaks apart, as if it breaks apart, as if I. Sometimes yogi felt that the mindfulness as if like it's not strong anymore. Before that, everything was clear, but now everything is breaking apart, breaking apart, breaking apart. But it's actually is an insight. It's a vipassana. Yeah. Strange. You'll come to a part when you go deep into it, then the of anicca by observation how it disappearing or dissolution, it becomes also very interesting. Yeah. So far can follow. And this time not so easy. Yeah. Let just listen as story. Just listen as a story. Well, all this inside the story, all inside what I'm going to say, finally is just dukkha anatta. And just want to drill it inside you that the realization of nibbana is paid by anicca, dukkha, anatta all the way. It's all within this mind and body process. Huh? Also, then when you see this anicca clear enough, then the actual dukkha will start to come in. Then the actual dukkha starts to come in when you see everything disappearing. Then sometimes you feel fear, or you feel something they call it danger, or sometimes you felt like, you know, now for example when you meditate, you feel you meditate and you notice this rising and falling. Where's the rising falling? Rising falling is here. Where's the pain? Pain is here. Where is the sensation? Sensation is here. And everywhere, and as if like all these sensations are a grounding in the body. You feel like there's a grounding in the body. Yeah? But whereas when it comes into the deeper aspect of dukkha, all this movement, all this arising and passing away, as if like there's no ground anymore. As if like it's different from what you notice. And therefore, as if like you keep noticing, you do not know where to hold on anymore. No, nothing to hold on. Then there's a sort of like a fear or danger you felt that is coming in. All this changing, all this dissolution is happening. And you feel very miserable. You feel very uncomfortable. Even the rising and falling, sitting, touching. Now, oh, rising, falling, you're so happy you got it now. You're so happy you can notice the pain. Yeah, I know you're happy. Good for now. But but when they come to the deeper insight, that the moment you sit down, you pay attention. It like as if like it sometimes it cramps the whole stomach. It make it so difficult. But you know that to carry forward, you have to keep your mind noting on that difficulty. It's really difficult, and if you are not strong enough, you're not faith. Your confidence is not faith. You're not faithful enough, or you are not strong enough in the practice, in the Buddha, Dhamma, the Sangha. You will think of packing your bags and go back. Roll up the carpet. It is so difficult for some yogis. Why is it that it's difficult for some yogis and not that difficult for some yogis? No, it's because of your attachment. You love everything beautiful, nice in the world, so attached to it. Therefore, your dukkha will come in stronger so that it can able to counter it can purify the. You need to see that. Yeah. Yeah. So you got to repeat this again and again. It feels miserable. It feels difficult inside there. Even that 1 hour, it feels like it's like a forever. You cannot finish, although you can notice everything very clearly. Even the walking also, you feel very difficult, very tired. Everything it comes in is just want to stop you from meditating because of this is what we call the dukkha that comes with change. The first type, like for example, what you notice the pain here, pain there, pain everywhere. The Pali called dukkha, dukkha, strong pain, uh, unpleasant pain. But when it comes to a deeper level, it's where called the viparinama dukkha. Viparinama means change, change. Pain that arises from change. Uh, uh. Then the third one, sankhara dukkha. Sankhara dukkha here is that you begin to see the arising and passing away, formation of phenomena of mind and body. As they form, as they arise and pass away, you feel the dukkha. And it can be pleasant, it can be nice feelings, it can be neutral like your stomach, like your everything. But everything you note them is just difficult. It's just miserable. It's just like sometimes you keep eating the same thing every day again and again. You look at it, you wonder, you feel that a nausea inside there for some people, yeah. So you have to go through all those things. The dukkha is strong because they're observing the different aspect of dukkha, and there's nothing to do with your buttock pain, yeah? Or your knee pain. So a lot of times this type of dukkha is very difficult to bear through. And then dukkha, then you keep on practicing, noticing, then it comes in with what we call the genuine wish to get out of this samsara. Yeah. The genuine wish to, because of the dukkha that you're observing right now, not what you think, and then it truly the sincere wish to get out of this samsara because of vision. The one that you make aspiration now is still good, but not strong enough, because after that you want to go back to happy. Uh, Sometimes a lot of time we make aspiration. It's good. It, but it's not strong enough, that one. Until we go deeper into it, when actually to see the dukkha, the mind wants to turn out everything from the whole, this arising and passing, this formation, this truly this dukkha. And when it turns out, again, he's going to notice even more difficult type of dukkha. So dukkha, so difficult. Maybe you can label it as the mother of all dukkha. So it's still waiting for you. So you cry here because you got buttock pain, cannot sit 1 hour, huh? It's still waiting for you. So you got to be strong. You got to notice all that thing, because again and again, the mind is trying to shift your perception into the looking at the truth, to clear away a lot of all the wrong perception. Then when it goes into deeper, until the mind comes into what we call the Sankhara Upekha Jnana. Sankhara means formation. Upekha means here you equanimity about the sankhara. Here the sankhara means the processes of the mind and body. During that time the yogi is at the doorstep of nibbana. At the doorstep, that means everything that the yogi notices, everything is so stabilized, the whole mind. No sleepiness, no drowsiness, no restless. He can able to do lifting, pushing, dropping throughout the whole day without having to go fast. Every motion he can meditate. If he wants to sit for 2 hours, no problem at all. The whole 2 hours, the mind is super sharp. The walking, everything is perfect. Uh, like for example, oh, your mother passed away, then the sadness arises, or something that makes you happy and all that thing. Those thoughts arises. You just look at it, the whole mind goes into equanimity. It doesn't mean that it forget, it doesn't forget. The yogi doesn't forget. If it comes in, the sadness no more, the happiness no more, but it's all equanimity. And everything is just arising and passing away. And this time, the fact of anatta becomes clearer, that everything, truly everything, is not in your control. So even like, for example, we want to move a finger like that, or even the rising and falling, how the rising and falling is going to move, the mind already knows it so fast. Every arising and passing away, the mind knows it already. How it's going to move, the mind knows it already. So fast. So that time you don't see an I that is in the state of control. So you pay attention to all those things. See them again and again until the mind goes into maturity. Maturity in the sense that the mind can able to notice it, then this is where we call the process of the mental process of enlightenment will take place. At the end of that process is the magga and so the magga is a consciousness, phala is also another consciousness. These two consciousness sees the nibbana. It doesn't create nibbana, but it begins to realize nibbana. Everything goes into cessation. All the arising and passing away stop. There's only time all this arising and passing away stop. At the same time, when you see that nibbana, elements are being eradicated. Now, so you enter into sotapanna. We don't have to talk further, isn't it? Here enough. As long as you can reach there in this life, it's wonderful. The thing is that, no, here, if you cannot remember all those talk about, it doesn't really matter. What matters that you understand that the path of reaching or realization of nibbana, everything has to go with anicca, dukkha, anatta. And also, this one also is good that sometimes we have an idea how we can able to realize nibbana, because out there a lot of people teaching and nibbana now. You calm nibbana, you see the Buddha nibbana, you see everything nibbana, or they suddenly meditate, pop, nibbana, instant enlightenment or sudden enlightenment. To them, that to them is nibbana. But the way of how the Buddha taught is that realization of nibbana has to go through all of anicca, dukkha, anatta. So next time, at least when you out there, you read the books or you hear talks and so on, at least you hear it with some understanding. Not everybody's nibbana you want. Because I've seen yogis in the past, they just the sayadaw. Okay, you want enlightenment, you come. Just listen to my chanting. I finish my chanting, sotapanna. That, and they believe it, and the devotees believe it. Just by chanting, all of them are enlightened. Maybe they give them a cert also and put it on the wall. Sotapanna, so and so. You see? I mean, many teachings are out there, whether they are monks or nuns, or even my words also. It's for you to scrutinize within your own, not by your own thinking, but your own observation, and see it for yourself. So, we'll stop here for tonight, no? Okay, enough.